I'm Dr. Rick Chai. In my hometown of East Palestine, I was known the last year as the Creek Ranger. The reason is shortly after the derailment, I started documenting and videoing the contamination, which is still just as bad today. I showed Senator Mastriano a video just taken on Monday. I've lost my voice. On Sunday night, I thought I would go and see the condition of the creeks just so I could report to you. And I hit a pocket that was so bad. If you can imagine standing by a bonfire and the wind changes direction and then the smoke goes into your mouth and nose, that's how bad I burnt my throat and my nasal cavity. I've been sick several times in that creek, so I can attest. I normally wear military gear, but I did not have it on that night. A couple of the phrases that I despise are product, which is what the Ohio EPA, Ann Vogel, called the toxic chemicals in the creek. She refers to them as product. I don't like the word sheen. We're given phrases so that people just repeat. They learn to repeat them when they hear them enough. What these are, they are toxic chemicals. The third one I hate is legacy chemicals. Now, I find it funny that the only time they use the word chemicals is when they blame it on someone else, and they say those chemicals were already there. There was a victory speech given at the derailment site by one of the heads of the EPA, where he said nationally we're at pre-derailment chemical levels. And yet, on the phone privately, 3 weeks later, he told me he doesn't believe all those chemicals are legacy chemicals. He told me this on the phone, but he tells the world something different. If you take nothing from what I say here today, realize that the EPA and the CDC is either full of a lot of inept buffoons, or at the worst, they're compromised and corrupt. So there have been so many lies. The creek cleaning, which is going on now, is what they've been doing from the beginning. It is not creek cleaning, it is chemical transport. They hit the first few inches of the creeks with water to stir up the silt, and it releases the chemicals. They should be sued by neighboring counties, neighboring towns, Negley, Ohio. They should be sued by other states, because the level of contamination that I filmed on Monday, and my friend Randy filmed on Monday, is astounding. They're just sending it down the creek. It's too late. I won't go into how I know this. We saw a backhoe shovel that they backhoed, and we were given a geological gift where we saw how low the chemicals actually went. Those chemicals are deep in the creek bed. If you look at this bottle of water, if I put deadly toxic chemicals that were heavier than water, if they were denser than water, and they stayed on the bottom, and I filled the rest up with water, and I didn't move that bottle, and I gave you a straw and asked you to drink out of the top of the bottle, chances are you're not going to take that chance. When the EPA does their tests, their dip tests, they take a test tube and stick it in the top of the creek, oftentimes on a stick, so they don't step into the creek and disturb the creek. And as the clean water rushes over the sediment, they get clean results. When you walk in that creek and the chemicals boil around your feet and you take a test, you get much different results. My test showed high levels of benzene, and I sent that test off all chain of custody. I drove that test on ice to Cleveland, to Eurofins Labs, and it came up with high levels of benzene in our creek. That type of benzene, when you get it on your skin, you breathe it in, or you drink it or ingest it, the metabolite it breaks down to in your body is called amethylstyrene. That is a genotoxic carcinogen. And what that means is the reason they started phasing BPA out of bottles is because that BPA can affect your hormones or your endocrine system, and over time can lead to disease later in life. That uses a secondary pathway. It disrupts your endocrine system. A genotoxic carcinogen does not use a secondary pathway. Amethylstyrene goes right into your cells and disrupts your DNA, and it will cause cancer. You don't want your kids in that creek. You should have that fenced off. You should have warning signs saying there's toxic chemicals in that creek. Let me talk about the CDC. CDC, after the country's largest chemical spill and disaster and subsequent burn in our history from a train derailment, they discouraged doctors from testing patients for chemicals. So I defied those guidelines and I tested residents, and a large ratio of them came up with the chemicals that were on the train in their bodies. There's someone sitting here right now where their whole family tested positive for benzene and vinyl chloride. And the husband had to have a double mastectomy because of a rare form of breast cancer and is undergoing chemo treatments. Can you prove causation? No, and that's what these companies rely on. They know that you cannot. But if you start seeing clusters, there's an awful lot of empirical evidence there. So the CTC, whose workers got sick when they came into town and did not reveal that, and was only revealed by whistleblowers, was discouraging doctors not to test patients. So when they would come up positive with benzene, well, maybe they spilled gasoline on them day, or maybe they pumped gas. When they came up with thiodiglycolic acid, they say, well, maybe they ate a bunch of onions, maybe they're taking a lot of vitamin B, which on my survey, when I tested these people, that asked those questions. When you see an 18-year-old athlete come test positive for vinyl chloride metabolites, that is not normal. So how was this thiodiglycolic acid, how did it become a criteria to test for vinyl chloride exposure? The study in Asia by a petrol plant where children in an elementary school were becoming ill. That is the criteria they used to discover whether these children were exposed to vinyl chloride. And that thiodiglycolic acid, which the EPA says, and the CDC says, is not a consistent enough criteria to help the people of East Palestine or test them. That criteria was enough to move those Asian children to a new elementary school and move them out of that town. But it is not good enough for the people of East Palestine in Midwestern America, in the United States of America. I've been disgusted by this entire thing. Let me just summarize by saying that this is akin to putting the murderer in charge of cleaning up the crime scene. Only this murderer, imagine a murderer so wealthy that he could influence the witnesses, influence the neighbors, influence the authorities. And that's how I sum this entire debacle up. Okay. I don't know what's wrong with my mask, but when I put it on, I got hit with this horrible frickin' smell. Good Lord. Good Lord. Wow. Wow. Oh, fuck, it smells. Oh, shit, what is that? It's that smell. It's that burnt smell. Oh, shit. And oh my God, does that shit smell? I gotta get out of here. Wow, listen people, I gotta get out of here. I gotta get out of here. I'm around motor oil. I work with motor oil. I gotta get out of here. I'm leaving.
I've been recording for 30 minutes. Non-stop. And they've been at this since probably 9 o'clock this morning. So they already sent a crap load of this down. I was up here at lunchtime. It was still flowing past the containment barriers. And then I come down now when they're actively washing. And this is what you get? Okay.